Prisons were built on a promise that behind those walls, broken lives could be mended, that education, training, and human dignity would transform offenders into citizens ready to return to society. That promise is the foundation of this documentary.
Our intention was obviously to highlight the issue of the lack of reintegration of ex-convicts back into society, and we wanted to interview ex-convicts and also prisoners who are currently imprisoned into the correctional facilities to show whether there is actual integration and actual rehabilitative measures that go on.
Through Reshape CBO, a community-based organization working at the intersection of justice and second chances, we were introduced to 3 ex-offenders.
Taking your friend or anyone to prison is not the best place.
Anaonanga prison ni kubaya.
Wale watu wanapaka vitabu ya kufunza. Wenye ukirudi kotini unaenda kufanya.
Their stories opened a window into what rehabilitation actually looks like from the inside.
Naanza mimi kesi yangu ni hivi, kesho mimi naingia kotini. Nifanye aje? So kuna zile advice zinakananga nyinyi wenyewe hapo. But kwa hiyo miezi 3 sasa seti nilipata hadi counseling kutoka kwa watu wengine apart from wenye tumefungwa nao. Unaona? Au ndio tulikuwa tunasaidiana nao. Mawazo mtu anakuambia wewe ulishikwa na wizi, hii ndio unaweza fanya hivi na hivi kotini, unafanya hivi. But advice nyingine kutoka sema askari hapo nje ama nini.
Their accounts led us to GK prison in Nakuru. Our visit began on an encouraging note. A display of goods crafted by inmates greeted us at the quality and skill on show was striking, a quiet testament to human potential even in confinement.
We saw some of the most beautiful furnitures and artisan goods, and when we were there, I remember my first thought was, and I even told my crew, that if we're here, can we shoot the b-rolls of like the outside environment and also like the workshop, so that the moment we go inside, we don't have to like have another thing to shoot when we leave. And I remember the woman was like, no, we have to ask him what is the program. Huyo mtu ametupangia. So that's when I think we started getting shocked. Like, what do you mean? I thought the intention of us coming here was so clear. We're coming here to shoot. And then after a long time, we were told we can't shoot. Like, there was a lot of barriers. We were able to get inside, talk to like now the head of the whole prison, and he told us we can't have any camera equipment, and we just have to like observe, and even our observation was limited because we couldn't go inside the cells.
When access was denied, we adapted. Armed with notebooks, sharp eyes, and probing questions, we relied on observation and direct inquiry to gather what the camera could not capture. What we found painted a very troubling picture.
One of the ex-offenders mwenye spent like 3 months in the prison, akasema if alipata rehabilitation is among the prisoners, not from the officials. So kitu yenye wafungwa pale wanafanya from observation ilikuwa ni tu kazi za kawaida, kuosha, kupasua kuni, kupaka rangi, because they are the one even doing like the decorations inside there. Wao wanafanya usafi. I really wish hata ili tungepewa chance tu ya kwenda kwa kitchen tuone kama bado wanapika, because it's not like there's no rehabilitation. Hatukuona class yote ilikuwa inaendelea.
When we got inside, the first thing that I noticed was just how the prisoners were doing a lot of like labor, and we saw some were painting the door, like the gate when you enter. Some were carrying haystack, others were kufyeka nyasi.
The only thing that we saw is kulikuwa na watu walikuwa kwa tunazaita kwa woodwork ama something of the sort. Out tu walikuwa wengi, watu kama 5, and the prison has more than 1,000 prisoners.
Much more of that punitive weight falls on the shoulders of the very officers tasked with rehabilitation. The way prisoners are treated by those meant to get their recovery shapes everything that follows.
The atmosphere was very tense. It almost felt like you know, in those military movies, like it just feels like regimental, like everything was like so regimented. Like we had so many gates to pass, And when we were done with those gates, like there were so many checks, and obviously like that's for security purposes.
Even before we left, tuliona watu wengine wameletwa kwa prison, and even how it's not like they are being welcomed. We kijana uko na miaka ngapi? It's like a harassment. And even instead of the police welcoming them in a way, unapata hao watu nao wanasaidiwa na wafungwa wenzao, because when they get inside the prison, unapata wafungwa wenzao ndo wanawanyoa nywele. The other issue was tuliona pia mtu akijinyoa na and even not a machine, alikuwa anajinyoa na kioo nywele yake. So I feel that is a failure from the officers. They are leaving it to the prisoners to deal with it themselves.
The way some of the officers were speaking to the family members who were inside, how the officers were like even talking to some of the prisoners who were around our vicinity, it was so tense. Like there was nothing friendly about that environment. So it just foreshadowed what we were going to encounter the more we got inside the prison even more deeper.
Beyond the treatment, there is a matter of freedom. Even the small liberties that nurture a sense of self are tightly restricted inside these walls.
Some of the prisoners, they looked like they were so deprived of the outside world, and even the correctional officers, they should be able to give them an idea of what the outside world is, right? But they looked so depraved and they looked so tired. Wengine, they were like doing menial jobs, like to paint the walls. Others were, I don't know, fixing up the grass, and they just looked so hopeless. And when we came in, some few people, like the prisoners who are at the front, like they looked at us, they're like, oh my God, like this is something new, this is something different from our normal routine. And I remember we were told, don't talk to any prisoners, don't look them in the eye unless we like tell you that you can talk to them.
What we were told is that wako na TV. Mimi sikuona hiyo TV, hadi tuliingia kwa a room that was built for church. Maybe I could expect if they don't have a service, it's now converted to entertainment hall. There's no TV. And even most of them walikuwa tu uko nje, wengine wanafua, wengine wako lunch, wengine wanazunguka tu na plates.
For me, it was really jarring to see people who are so much denied of their physical freedom, but you could also see like the freedom for like speech wasn't there, the freedom to like even interact with anyone who was passing by there, it wasn't there. It felt almost like they were a sub-generation or like a sub-group compared to us.
Consequences extended well beyond the prison gates. Without meaningful rehabilitation, many ex-offenders find themselves with no real footing in society, and the cycle begins again.
Group the prisoners, they were saying that some of them even get ideas on how to commit even more egregious crimes from each other because of like the pain they feel by being in prison. Now I wonder if these people were, if the convicts were able to sit and they were able to have fruitful conversations and fruitful sessions, such talks wouldn't even appear, because if you know that this is wrong and I can change my ways and I have tools and methods of coping when I'm outside there, you would not think to do worse when you are out, right? And we were talking to some of the ex-offenders that we were able to interview, and they said that the majority of the times they come to society with more skills on how to commit more crimes than they had when they were going in. And it's because they have nothing else to do rather than just to do chores and then just to sit and talk negatively amongst themselves. So that environment, like the prison environment that we were able to experience, I don't think it's a place that encourages offenders to better themselves.
For Asma, the most damaging impact may be invisible to the eye. A system that strips people of their dignity, she argues, eventually strips them of their hope. And hope is the one thing rehabilitation cannot function without.
A sense of self-esteem, because when they're there, they're just treated like a number. We were talking to the head of welfare, and he said obviously he doesn't know all of the prisoners' names, so they were reduced to like being called specific numbers. And also like the way they were being talked down upon, like no one was saying, like you know how you usually say thank you, please, excuse me, like there was no polite way of engaging with them that we were able to see. So that sense of like authority over yourself, and that sense of like self-esteem, obviously as the more you stay in that prison, the more it's like goes down. But I've also seen that it leads to a lot of like depression, because we were talking to another prisoner and I asked him what was his hope for when he comes outside, when he's released, because he's really being released in 2 years. And he said, don't ask me that question until I am outside. So that means he literally does not think he is going to make it. And if he does make it, he will only think about his future the minute he's outside those gates.
Matthew sees a path forward, but it runs through policy. Genuine reform, he believes, requires deliberate and structured change at the institutional level.
Wake up at 6, wanaenda wanakunywa chai, they do their cleaning up to 8 or even their personal grooming. Then from 8, wanaingia like a session. To for example, wasome paralegals, like they empowered about how to defend themselves, about what the law says. They also be equipped with like digital skills. Like now we are in an era that we have a lot of smartphones, we have internet connectivity, we have computers. They wapata hizo skills zenye zinaweza saidia. Also they get like the rehabilitation sessions or the counseling sessions. Kwenye watakuwa tu wanaenda, they open up about their situation, they get wanakuwa advised, and even the expectation of the society when they come out of the prison. And moreover, wapa hizo skills zenye tunaambiwa wanapata, do they get certificate? Or how will you come to prove to me after umetoka prison that you have skills? Wapate skills as in from professionals, wajue like kutengeneza kama ni hizo vitu zambao wapewe certificate. So like when they come to the outside, they even get a recommendation from there. Wanaambiwa this person has transformed, and if you employ him or her, he'll do a good job, because they don't have certificate.
And in a moment, they did not know we were capturing. The prison's own management admitted what our investigation had already revealed.
Of counselors, the number of psychologists, we need to at least to have a bigger number. And recently, we have started employing professionals. Initially, hatukuwa na wao, tulikuwa tunaandika askari tu. So we adjusted to add that depending on the need. The facilities. Like now you see a dispensary serving that big population of around 2,000. So we need at least like a hospital inside here. Yeah, so we need facilities that can be able to accommodate the population that we have. Maybe like counseling rooms, we also don't have. We have challenge on that line. And also, as I have said earlier, and also rehabilitation programs that are designed to tackle specific people, see in general. It's also a challenge.
Okay.
We need to have a tailored rehabilitation programs that address specific needs of a specific crime. Yeah. Sababu za tuko na general tu. Like now, mtu kama Al-Shabaab, wende train kuwa tailor.